you a patriot? Join the Holy Empire.
My holy brothers in quirk Christ, subscribe to your Patriarch's Patreon page. Pay me money and I can work on imperial infrastructure for a living instead of working on a corporate plantation. More proof and versus series, more recaps, reactions, and recasts, more content more consistently on a platform which allows us to interact more seamlessly, including but not limited to Patriot-only access content and seasonal level 99 plot armor.
He not beating Goku! He not beat... Nobody could beat Goku!
Authorial Intent, but can he beat Goku? Prior to fully delving into our dissertation, we must first define and/or confine the nature of authorial intent, notably with regards to in- or cross-verse power calc scaling and stacking if needs be. So the most prominent Stillman argument lobbied against power scaling is either A, the author doesn't think about power scaling when creating their perspective verses, or B, that the author doesn't write from a power scaling perspective. In response to this, I would either say A, thank you, as the scenario incidentally glazes the fuck out of me given that I am a death goddamn power scaler, which is to say you'd have to be dense enough to believe that I can Google the speed of light or FTL in order to power scale, that you can Google the speed of light or FTL in order to power scale, but not legendary mangaka like Horikoshi, Tabata, Gege, or Kubo-sama.
Are you dumb, stupid, or dumb?
Roll the clip.
If you could run at the speed of light, you could travel around the Earth several times in a single second, or you could travel to the moon in around a second. But to get to the closest star with light speed, you would take over 4 years. Again, I learned this in the 3rd grade when I was 9 years old in the American education system. So to assume that Tabata, who's smarter than me, had a better education system and wrote a physics-based manga and he somehow doesn't know what light speed is pretty infantilizing.
Or I'd rebuttal with option B. So fucking what? We aren't power scaling the author's interpretation of a series. We're power scaling that which was blatantly broadcast across our screens.
I hate you. That was your 6th shot. I won't let you reload. I hate you. I hate you. I never told you about my first love or about my technique.
Construction uses one's cursed energy to create matter from nothing. Creating 1 bullet a day is Mai's maximum. So she uses a revolver to create confusion about how many bullets she has left.
Akatami-sama thinks that Maki catching a bullet as early as chapter 42 is quote-unquote a bit too much, and yet she still caught the bullet in episode 17, and that alone is what we are all power scaling.
I should never do that with my bare hand.
Anything beyond that is headcanon, and Lord Almighty Rayo knows that tons of viewers would have just bitched about it if we had.
He's out of line, but he's right.
I hold a special place in my hollow hole. Hellhole? There's a special circle in Hellverse for the Ryoka whom have ever power scaled based on statements by reliable narrators, only to downplay Keikaku-sama's use of the word dimension. And no shame to you if you've ever accepted this as an expert opinion. You're not at fault as long as you stop to acknowledge that this has actually occurred. Just think about it though. Go back to the day you laid your eyes on that panel or frame for the first time when Godson declared that each God was an entire dimension above him. Did you not take this statement as hyper-literal or empirical?
Yes.
If you did, it's because, according to all of the intentionally inserted information available, that was authorial intent.
Stupid!
The greatest criminal mind ever, second only to motherfucking Haddon Clogg's ingenious in the history of Clorox Bleach, thoughtfully and meticulously outlined in detail the actual state of power differentials to the audience in a widespread digestible manner. All after the accidental mountain buster. The black hole buster. And who could forget one-shotting a multi-dimensional being with a stare contest? Yet somehow, because Goku and Beerus punches were said to risk the cosmos after hundreds of punches without it ever actually occurring, you believe the beginning of Super Goku is low complex multiversal. Now, I'm not saying that he isn't low complex multiversal.
Cap.
I'm simply pointing out that there is far more evidence that suggests that Danga Himchigo alone is casually 7D, assuming we're going off of Authorial Intent. But I digress.
Impossible.
Consequently, before we can dive any further into our essay, we must first ascertain the nature of what is canon. The term technically stems from the Greek word which it parrots phonetically, literally meaning rule. Its own canonicity as a part of common tongue was a 12th century lexicon induction or a law of church or a sanction/group of body of related religious works, i.e. a collection or a list of sacred books accepted as genuine, such as the formation of the biblical canon. The old Star Wars extended universe utilized a graduated scale of canonicity, which is to say G canon, T canon, C canon, S canon, and N canon. GTC and S canon together formed the overall Star Wars continuity, with each descending level typically overrode by those which precede them in any and every case of contradiction. G canon speaks to the movies and their official licensed novelizations, with the most recent version of the movie being authoritative and the novelizations only being authoritative where they do not conflict with the movies. T canon refers to the Clone Wars film and the Clone Wars series. C canon is indicative of the older cartoons as well as most of the novels and other books, most of the comics, and most of the RPG source books. Video games are also at this level, but only certain options and choices are canonical. S canon, as a general rule of thumb, represents a level which is canonical if used or referred to by a higher level of canon. Otherwise, it can be used or ignored as needs be. This is the broad strokes level of canon where it probably happened but not necessarily exactly the way the source describes it. N canon relates to the non-canonical publications and is irrevocably contradicted by higher canon. This includes information cut from the canon, deleted scenes, or canceled Star Wars works unless a canon source resources it. Apropos, there exists a parallel system which demonstrably displays the canonicity tiers of Clorox, Bleach concordantly, and all other anime by proxy, assuming there is a constant state of contradiction within the available source material, which BT dubs is as follows. F canon is the highest authorial tier and speaks solely to any and every feat performed within the combined available source material. Seeing is believing, and regardless to literally any and all statements, databooks, or subsequent mangaka excerpts, save for direct feat-based retroactive continuity, no take-backsies whatsoever. S canon refers to in-universe statements from reliable sources, such as inner monologues from reliable narrators or canon-established experts on relevant subject matter. D canon relates to official data book stats and or statements not designed directly by the IP creator. E canon indicates canon derived from the author, filling in the otherwise plot holes or gaps of the IP via an interview and or other media source outlets. This tier is superseded by all tiers which it contradicts, save for D canon. Obviously, I'm not the premier espada holding Lillinat to your head or sorbet with the blicky behind Goku, demanding you comply with this particular methodology. It's simply a more adequate barrier of entry with regards to canonicity in anime for me personally, so by all means, rationally deconstructed, suggest an outright better method, or touch grass, my ninja. For the rest of us, I think it disingenuous or at the very least remiss to omit if using an outlier scenario to make your argument is your argument.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Allow me to articulate. In the latest English translated entry of Black Clover, chapter 374, our actual isekai main character, Black Bull's Captain Yami, reflects, that attack happened at light speed. It was all I could do to block it with my Black Moon. And just like that basement dweller D-Gens crawled out of the woodworks in mass, claiming that Black Clover characters are only speed of light timers, entirely ignoring, disregarding at best, that Wizard King numero uno, the Light Mage Lumiere, was introduced and confirmed light speed in chapter 47, and that very arc Yami pushed past his limits against a far faster black-licked and then again to contend with a massively faster white devil. From there, he went on to face off against Dorothy's Glamour World. Oh, and before y'all brutally murder my girlfriend's mother and dig up her desiccated corpse reanimated with literal angelic zombie magic to unalive her surviving children while forcing those same siblings to blame my waifu for all of it, all just to protect her from a demonic curse in the comment section. Disproving current Black Clover is not only speed of light does not necessitate an infinite Glamour World.
What do you mean by that?
What we do know is that at bare minimum, Glamour World is a large supercluster in dimension. To further illustrate, light travels from us to the moon in just over a single second, whilst the nearest star to Earth, Alpha Centauri, is north of 4 light years from here, i.e. nearly 150 million times the speed of light to reach us in a singular second. Yami is fast as fuck, boy. Beyond that, by this point in our story, we've power cleared from mana and manic mana to true mana and now ultimate mana. Leaving alone the possible multitudes worth of power multiplications between each of these 4 mana states, we know that by itself, Manic Mana is a 25 times multiplier to your magic power and speed, making ultimate light magic a blue, black, and low ball 25 times the speed of light.
Damn!
That's the oldest trick in the book.
Got him. We fucking got him.
Congratulations. You played yourself.
That reminds you of the Dispo speed of light fiasco during the Dragon Ball Super Tournament of Power, whilst the Kamehameha Wave was light speed all the way back during the early arcs of Dragon Ball, the original series, or the same disingenuous tactic being applied to Candace's lightning when, if nothing else, according to you fucktarded fucking fucktards who can't read or Google kanji, Ichigo was a lightning timer all the way back in the Soul Society arc. What's more, in all 3 cases, there are a plethora of blatant and blatantly consistent examples of the speed of light in their respective verses far exceeding the speed of light in our own. Subsequently, the entire Dragon Ball LZGT Plus community manga/anime license franchise has utterly failed to demonstrably demonstrate a single DC feat greater than multiplanetary or equitably solar system level buster. Roll the clip.
You watch slowly as Frieza's death ball reaches the center of the planet and blows it up. It's like this, right? If I were to use a mountain level attack and hit the Earth's core with it, that would cause the planet to blow up. But that does not make that same attack planetary. He causes a shockwave. Are you going to sit here and say this shockwave is planetary because you see the shockwave traveling through the planet? Or are you going to use your brain and think, hey, how would this be planetary if it didn't blow up the fucking planet? Persistent attacks are not the same thing as feats. That's like calling a gun wall level, when it would only be able to destroy said wall with enough damage over time. I'll say it again, these shockwaves aren't even destroying planets, they aren't even planetary. Boo, who is hundreds of thousands times stronger than that same Master Roshi that blew up the moon, shoots a Kamehameha after watching Goku, who is in Super Saiyan 3, using a Kamehameha, learns his ability, copies it, and hits him with the same exact attack. But in doing so, his attack hits the surface of the planet and destroys 1/10 of it. It is because Ki does not have planetary AP. AP means attack potency. Ki is only capable of destroying planets because it will take the core of a planet and detonate it. But it would be extremely foolish to say that the torpedoes on the X-Wing are capable of blowing up a moon or would be a moon-level feat. These missiles are no different than the Ki attacks. Master Roshi was able to blow up the moon because he sent enough Ki to the moon's core to cause the moon to explode. In fact, we get a clear-cut example of what happens to a Ki blast when it doesn't hit the moon's core when we see Ultimate Gohan fight Super Buu when he absorbs Gotenks. It literally goes to China. What more evidence do you need? These guys die to planetary explosions. I don't know what else I could say. Read the manga. These niggas is not planetary.
In any event, be it Prince Vegeta, King Vegeta, Frieza, or otherwise, as what we witnessed with Buu was purely a hypothetical, and that we only know that the Dragon Ball Z god of Black Air Force energy could destroy the verse with absolutely no indication of how long that would have taken. In a nutshell, your ability to disregard hyperversal level AP from Clorox Bleach while accepting it as gospel for Toriyama's franchise means that you are a Goku tard and are riding his Dragon Balls and Dick Boy Kid Gohan rode Nimbus or Icarus. My overall point is that it is fucking fucktarded and wrong to use outliers as a foundation for debates when there is a multitude of evidence to the contrary. Least of all, when power cliffing can easily explain buffs to naturally occurring phenomena. Stop doing this not simply because it's fickle and ineffectual, but because it will inevitably backfire on your stance as well, and or expose your impotence with regard to perception of esoteric narratives and the depths of detail and story crafting going over your head like a Volstanding or a halo on King Kai's planet. Argue with Kubo or your mama.